they don't want to give me the respect, I'm going to get it, and you don't have to say anything.
Oh, they took it to the street, like on a whole different level.
The more unique I got, it felt like the less people really wanted to mess with me.
And if it wasn't that, it was backhanders.
The business was always secondary. That's where our failures happen.
Peace, unity, love, and having fun, and the knowledge.
Allegedly making threats to make sure the music is played and that. People can't question my music or the content.
You have to believe in yourself to the point of insanity.
No one can F with me. Being a street rapper like I was never gonna have that, because it's too dangerous.
The UK hip-hop scene has many artists who deserve way more credit and rewards for what they do than they get. One such personality is my guest today. Someone who's been delivering to high standards from early, but someone who I feel hasn't really had the opportunity to tell his story as yet. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive the notifications, like, share, and get involved in the comment section below. So, let's get into this. My guest today is the raw spitter himself, member of Gawd Status, one of a kind, the guy who always brings a whole different energy, the one and only Joker Starr.
Thank you for having me.
What's going on, bro?
Yeah,
how you
good,
doing?
man? Nice to see you, man.
You too, man. You know what? The first thing I have to say is we actually did this a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago. And we had a problem with your beard in the mic.
Yes, I remember.
So you've trimmed your beard down a little?
The beard, I pulled it over away from the mic to the left, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But yeah, thank you for inviting me up again to do it, man. Because I think in that 3 years, quite a little bit more has happened than that, man. So
bro, let's start right from the beginning. Before there was Joker Starr.
Yeah, before there was Joker Starr, there was Kebby, one of 3 kids, mother and father, married, separated, got back together again. School, I was fairly quiet, you know what I'm saying? Not too big into the education, but more into doing practical things, you know what I'm saying? With my hands, a lot of energy. And it wasn't really until maybe a Christmas of maybe 1991, maybe 1990, that an interest in music came. Like I remember for Christmas, I got a radio, had 2 tape decks. My mum bought me a Bananarama tape. She bought me a tape of Prince as well, just a single. And then, yeah, it was kind of like the first time that I've had a radio like that, you know. So left to my own devices, I think it was a Wednesday. I can remember maybe the first week or second week after Christmas. I stumbled onto Max Alex and Davy J show on Kiss, and it kind of had a big impact on my life. Unbeknown to me, it was something that I needed. You know what I mean? Like, you can never see the future, but I didn't know it would have such an impact on my life, because up to then, even up to the age of 19, I had no desire to be in front of the camera or be a performer like that. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was quite a reserved kid. You know what I mean? Up to the age from maybe 10 to the age of 18, 19, my focus was just football. Like I had an interest in music as far as playing with my mum's and dad's record collection and their record player.
And their cassettes.
Yeah, unbeknown to me, like that even sparked interest in production, but I didn't know I did, because I used to hear little sections of the record, let it play, put it back, try and loop it up, and then put it back, and then do the needle dropping as well. I didn't know that was a thing, but I'd always be focused on like trying to get the record to loop just by, and I would do this for hours and hours and hours, just needle dropping, trying to do that. Fast forward a little bit to maybe the age of about college time. Like I always was like teenage years. I had an interest in sport. I had an interest in football mainly, but sports and physical activities was my focus. Fitness. First course I got talked into doing from a career advisor was leisure and tourism. I wanted to get into sports science, so we did the leisure and tourism for a year, and the tutors weren't really engaging us. Most of the time we were just sat in a classroom copying out of the books because we were a bunch of rambunctious kind of collective of kids who realized that we've all kind of been suckered into doing this course which we had no interest in.
So why
But
didn't you pursue football?
I did. We're gonna get to that.
Okay.
We'll get into that. I tried another course, but the people that I had met on that course who were more the kind of eclectic musicians, they went over to another college in Kingston. So initially I met them in local college, Langley, Berkshire. They went over to Kingston Music College. And at that time I said, you know what, I'm done with education. I kind of was like, you know what, I just need to try and earn some money. So I got a job in Foot Locker. They went and started this course. They kept getting at me, yo, you should come have a look at this course. Went there, and it was similar to the last course I was on, but it weren't really the kind of music that I wanted to do in terms of like it was very similar to the last one, very rock, very kind of old school, traditional. They didn't really have music production set up there. It was more live instruments. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I wasn't ready at the time. Wasn't ready at the time to do it. So I just focused on work. It's not until the same group of people graduated from that course or left that course and went to another college in Southwark, Bermondsey, and they were raving about this course. They were raving about one tutor there who was into rap, who was into hip hop, who was DJing, cutting, scratching, this and that. I said, you know what? Let me check that out. But in between, from where I'm talking about to then, at that initial college, I'm doing a football scholarship as well. Never really did anything in football. Reserve level player, park player, but local Slough park legend. No one can F with me. You know what I mean? So yeah, met and eventually went to this college in Southwark, and I had no idea at the time that it would be the 2 years that would shape my kind of creative outlook and being. So yeah, that's where I met Def G, Soliheen from the Lords of Rap. And he was instrumental in not giving me my kind of first chance or opportunity or chance to be creative, but he let me practice being a musician. So there at that course, I learned notation, I learned singing, I learned post-production, I learned pre-production, I learned scores, I learned drum notation, I learned keyboard, and he did a DJ course and a rapping course. So I did the rapping course, and he had heard of me due to some of my friends. I've been rapping a little bit then, so maybe a year or so, and I guess I was doing things more advanced than my ability in terms of I was just not afraid to try things, try certain afflictions, try certain word slurs. It was, basic at the time, but he could hear something, and I have to give a lot of thanks and praises to people that had guided me up to that point. So there's Mr. Rick Hollier, there's Skankity Ashanti, who's known as Uncle Kofi. Through that time to now, like they kind of were that introduced me to recording, but it was bedroom level, allowing me to use their instruments to make beats, the MPCs, stuff like that. So I wish I covered more of that, what they did, but we've only got an hour and a bit. So yeah, to Soliheen, he, for some, I can't remember the reason why he was going to New York, but he was going to New York at the time, and he wanted me to record a song. I don't know what he wanted to do, take over there. I think this was pre-flipping CD time. This is pre-YouTube. This is like he physically was taking a beat CD over with him to, I think he was going to Fat Beats. I don't know who he was meeting over there. But I think amongst these beats he was producing, maybe I think he wanted to show people that he could like produce artists as well, maybe, So I sat down, he played me some beats, and at the time, Jizza Liquid Swords was my favorite album. So I picked something that sounds similar to a Jizza Liquid Swords beat. But people who were around, who were in the MC class, said, yeah, you should pick the beat which is the Anthem. So the Anthem. So I was like, okay, cool. Wrote. Didn't know what I was going to do, what I was going to write, because I'm thinking, well, this is my big opportunity now. Like, this is the biggest opportunity I got. And it was going to be the first time recording in a studio which isn't a bedroom. It's got like a desk in one room, glass, you know what I'm saying, booth set up, hanging mic. So it was a bit daunting. So at that time, Most Def Miss Fat Booty was one of my favorite tunes at that time. So I said, let me just copy the bar length of that, because I know that was a long song. It might be the only chance I get, so let me say everything I got to say on this one record is about maybe 100 bars in this. Did it in 2 sessions, because, them times I was still trying to rap everything in one take, and it was impossible to rap that in one take, because I've just scribbled it maybe a couple nights before. So it took a while. I remember some girl set off the fire alarm, said she wasn't smoking. We know you were smoking. We know you were smoking in there. So it took 2 weeks to do the tune. Eventually he liked the tune. Told me to record another one. The other one was raw Spittage. Took the CD out there, went out there, came back. You know what I mean? And this was the precipice of the start of Joker Starr and his official career.
So that kind of came about purely by accident, really.
Accident, and very quick, and maybe too quick. Like it's.
Do you think you were ready for that?
No, because I didn't know I needed to be ready. I thought, isn't this just what happens with everybody?
Raw
I went
Spittage,
from
raw Spittage.
not rapping a lot to 2 years having a record out, 2 years being on heavy rotation on Choice and Kiss FM hip hop shows. My, Militia Street Team slapped my sticker up everywhere.
So you were part of Militia?
No, I wasn't part of Militia.
All right.
But through knowing Skankity Ashanti, Kofi, him and Menace are good friends to this
Bro,
day. Like,
look,
you know what I
I've
mean?
said it a
So
million times, and I'm going to say it again.
yeah,
I personally believe what them guys did as a
so
street
important.
team for what Mark B and Blade was doing,
Yeah,
I believe a lot of what happened became possible because of what they did.
so important.
You know, like they were ridiculous. I've given them shout outs on tracks. I always tell them how much they meant to me for what they
Because
did.
people don't realize this is before YouTube. Like, this is hip hop connection. This is you got the YouTube page, not YouTube pages, internet pages, and that's it. And stickers. Me, it was the stickers.
Oh, they took it to the street like on a whole different level.
I guess yeah, they did represent the streets. The Soliheen and his connections represented more the eclectics, the industry, more the people who were actively doing stuff. So through him, I met Jonesy D, I met Billy Business, I met whoever was running One Extra when it was brand new at the time. You know, I met Shorty Blitz, I met Big Ted, I went up to Kiss FM, I went up to Choice FM. So, you know, I had a good base covered initially in terms of, you know, I didn't have management, but what I had is people who had access to people that could
So,
make stuff happen.
you know what? You said you had a good base and everything,
Yeah.
but I feel you weren't given the opportunity to achieve what you should have achieved,
Yeah,
right?
maybe
Why?
so.
When you had that base, I mean, what does that say about the industry, the runnings behind the scenes, in front of the scenes?
Because there was no structure. We were just doing things to,
We were learning, right, as we were going
yeah,
along.
yeah, you know, and I was more of an action guy, like in terms of when me, Kofi, because before we got to Raw Spittage, Anthem, before all of that, I'd met Kofi whilst doing that first college course, but he was doing another course. And, you know, he took me under his wing. So he took me under his wing. He showed me a lot. He was more structured. He, you know, introduced me to Maestro. He introduced me to DJ Bluefoot, who my second single was out with Bluefoot. And, you know, he was trying, at the time, I think he was trying to kind of bring everybody together in terms of like, you know, a bunch of artists here. Let's use our entrepreneurial kind of nous. Let's get a machine together, CD, print our own machines. You know, that's how the street teams are doing it. Get our stuff out there, hand to hand, and kind of do it ourselves, monetize from the sales of that. But it just didn't happen, you know. And because I was just kind of off doing my own things, like you know, we had our agreements and disagreements, but you know, we kind of not outgrew each other, but we just kind of,
Separate ways.
yeah, separate ways thing. But you know, I do owe that guy a lot, man, because he was very patient with the whole group of us, because it wasn't just me that he took care of. He kind of took care of me, a guy called Dark Angel. We all used to go to like a local youth center and gather there, and he used to come down, give us tips and pointers. And yeah, man, like in terms of having a proper business structure, it goes like to what you said. Like none of us, well, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just believed that the better you get, the more unique you are, people are gonna gravitate to you, and then you know you'll get this
Did you
deal
did you ever
happen.
did you ever find the more unique you were, the more difficult it was?
The more unique I got, the less it felt like the less people really wanted to kind of mess with me. You know, in terms, you know, whether they intimidated by the style, or you know
Or
they
they
don't
just don't
know
get
where
it.
I'm from,
Or they
or you
just don't
know
get it.
who is this? He's not from London. Where is he from? We've never heard of Slough. It sound like South. Thought he was from South. He's from Slough. But yeah, that didn't phase me in the slightest, because that was what I wanted. I wanted people to fear me. I wanted to walk into rooms and people, you know, if they don't want to give me the respect, I'm gonna get it, and you don't have to say anything because I know like people knew like if it's me or you, I make sure I go on the mic and you don't really want to touch it after I've done it, and I've done that many times.
Obviously, your journey began in Slough. You had all these connections with certain people. Somewhere along the line, you also met Tone, who's doing the coffee shop
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's doing that now. So
yeah.
we have some kind of reference to Tone as well, who's active in the game.
Mm.
But then you're mingling with London.
Yeah,
You're mixing with shakers and movers.
yeah,
But yet things are all right. You've got your single out. People are talking about it. It's a dope single. But yet you still aren't making the kind of progress you should be making. Do you
yeah.
feel that has anything to do with any kind of cliquey behavior that was going on within the scene?
Maybe so. Like, it wasn't a time like where you could just upload your music and let people hear it. You know, there were referees in the way, so you had to get your music played. There had to be an outlay of money before you even, have those conversations with people or get the opportunity to, people deny access to your music. What I found was it was hard to get the reviews, it was hard to get the interviews at the time. It was hard to get the pages. It was even hard, not to get the sale and returns, but it was hard to get people. I knew once people played the record, they could sell it, but
But the problem was getting it played.
getting it, people playing it and
So who
supporting
played
it.
it? Who played it at the time?
I know 279 rinsed it, Max LX, Davey J rinsed it. Nah, not Max LX. Big Ted and Shorty Blitz rinsed it. But I'm talking more in the space of the record stores, because
Okay.
not everyone is listening to radio,
Yeah,
is it?
yeah.
Some
I
people
mean,
go. Some people go to the record stores. So I know, like, if people are playing the Anthem or they're playing the Raw Spittage, then it's getting sold.
a lot of people like completely forgot about the time when you used to walk in a record store,
Yeah,
go up to the guy at the counter and go, "What's hot?" And then
yeah.
they used to say, "Check this." So are you saying that those people weren't putting your record in front of people and saying, "Check
Yeah,
this"?
I don't think so, but I know I had the support of the people in the movement, the man them in the movement. So I had the support of Jonesy D, who took me over to New York with him to perform in his interlude in the New York theater month.
How did that feel?
Oh, that was wicked, man.
Let's just put a bigger picture on that. So
Yeah.
you're struggling to get heard in the UK, but yet you're in New York, somewhere where none of the other UK acts have been.
Yeah, it was crazy because I went to New York, I was in Germany, I did some bits in Germany, and it was, at that time, like, you have to realize that time I'm still, this record ain't even been out 6, 7 months, and I'm doing all of that. So I'm just thinking, well, this is just part of what's gonna happen for me. But I'm not seeing I'm not thinking about the monetary gain. I'm not thinking about being famous and that. My thing is like, this is just part of me and my journey being dope. And if I carry on improving myself and being dope, this is gonna happen all the time, every day, all around the world. And it just wasn't the case. Like, like you in hindsight, you have to take responsibility for the decisions you make. Like, even in ignorance, like, you only know through experience. Like, looking back, I could have had this conversation, or if I would have known this then, and then you kind of apply knowledge from what you learned through your mistakes back to your induction and that, man. So, I'm not here saying, oh yeah, yeah, people didn't give me opportunities. Like, I did have opportunities to do stuff and do well, but I wish I would have had a bit more guidance in terms of how to navigate. I didn't really have anyone looking out for me in terms of that sense, like how to navigate the industry. Creatively, I had that, you get me, people guiding me through creatively, making sure that, you know, I am not afraid to,
So it's like basically you were given certain opportunities, but you didn't
yeah.
know how to turn them into something
Yeah, I didn't know how to
that
turn
made
it
it
into
something
a
else.
career, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was a little bit, I guess, your own naivety, and
indeed, yeah.
and that came from people not really guiding you and showing you, because we didn't have references.
We just, I guess I'm not the only one that thought the game was, you know, you just get really good and then someone's gonna come and say, yeah, 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 you're really good. But yeah, as we know now, it is a little bit rigged. You
It
do
is,
have
yeah,
to kind of
pay to play, innit?
sign stuff away or be involved with people that don't have your best intentions at heart.
When you were talking about Raw, Spittage and Anthem,
Yeah.
you said 6, 7 months, whatever. You know what's crazy, bro? Now you put that out, you'd be lucky if it lasts 6, 7 minutes.
That's what I'm saying, because there were referees in place to make sure. The referees in place, I had good support through friends and loved ones. Like whenever they used to hear the song, they used to call up the radios and, you know, harass them to wheel up, wheel up, wheel up, wheel up. There was probably a bit of rough housing as well with certain people allegedly making threats to make sure the music is played and that. Whether that happened, I don't know. I'm just saying I knew those kind of people.
And if it wasn't that, it was backhanders
Yeah.
and
So
DJs
yeah,
taking.
I never paid anybody like to play the music and that, man.
This is
But
what I was saying about pay to
yeah,
play. And
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
same with Google Ads. It's the same with everybody. It's
Yeah,
all pay to
yeah,
play.
it's all
Otherwise, you get
payola at
blocked.
the minute, man.
So I guess in some ways you felt like you had to fight for your position, and it seems like you're still fighting for your
Yeah, it's
position now.
been, bro, it's tiring, man. It's been 20 plus years of it. And I think I've never settled. I've always pushed myself to do the most difficult things.
So would you say you were consistent with your releases?
Up to a point, yeah, up to COVID, I've always been consistent. Always had albums out, always had
How
EPs
many
out.
albums? How many singles? How many records altogether?
I don't know.
You should know this.
I don't know.
You should know this.
Do you know?
I don't know.
Do you know how many bits
Do I
you've
know how
got?
many
Yeah,
I've done? Yeah,
yeah,
I know how
yeah.
many I've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because I've had like 15 years of nothing going on. So you just sit there counting the records. It's like, yeah, I did that
Yeah.
one. I did.
So I got two Jones Brothers EPs out, one Gawd Status album out, numerous Joker Starr EPs,
Yeah.
about 6 albums out, singles out. Like, you know, I always made sure that there was at least a video, a music, an
And
album,
you've
or
done a
something
lot of those
dropping.
as well.
I've done my,
That
I've done a
Flint
lot.
Water video, man. I love that video. It's like,
Yeah, that's one of
but
my
there's so
favorite
much more.
videos.
There's
Yeah.
so much more. Do you know what I mean? But you know, one thing, when we were having a conversation, there's one thing that you said that really hit a chord with me, right? And it was where you said you have to believe in yourself to the point of insanity.
Yeah.
Because it's like, who else is going to believe in you?
Who are you gonna listen to, man? Because you know, when I was coming up, my biggest influence in my kind of like the structure of how I do things musically was Muhammad Ali, and his lessons and his life and how his approach to his greatness, like it just encaptured me and it encaptured the people I was around. You know, I shared that with Soliheen, I shared that with James Yard, and there's nobody that, even if people don't think I'm great, I know that my approach and my practice and my methods were one of someone who believes that that is what they are. So that is what I will become.
You're one of those artists that basically pursued the skill rather than the fame and the glory.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that in itself was a problem? It caused a hindrance because, like, you know, so many people are taught to chase the money, the fame, the glory, and then you got you, that's basically the skill rapper. Did that in any way put any kind of fear in the competition? Because you had the skills that maybe they felt they didn't have?
Well, my journey started long before that. I was always going to be more skilled because my journey started as being trained as a classical musician. So I understand the theory better than the majority of rappers. So that means that I can and I am able to manipulate words better because I understand notation, I understand timing, I understand cadence, I understand harmonies, I understand chord progression, I understand English literature, I understand different. At that time, yeah, I don't practice now, but I understood the structure of poetry, I understood the structure of literature. So I had done the study. It's not something where I just have one style. It's not that I just did things one way. You know, I went into the dungeon and I was taught by people who had a greater understanding than I did. So yeah, I came up with my friends, but then I was getting lessons and teachings from people who had been there, done that, and for their era were looked up to and respected and could give their experience to me. So like my connection to them is of a UK rap history. So I was always going to be better because the lessons I'd learned and the experience I was given and the people that I was allowed to connect with was always going to make sure that it was skills first. They weren't business people. So, the business was always secondary. That's where our failures happened because we weren't on the cusp of things when they were changing from physical copies to digital to CDs to the YouTube era to going from television to monetizing your videos on we weren't privy to all of that. But what I was privy to was how can I be better than the majority or everybody else.
You're now 2 decades deep in, right? Two decades plus.
Sounds crazy, but
And
yeah.
over the years, you've picked up a lot of information through other connections that you've got with people like Jazz T and whoever else.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I mean, would you take yourself back to the kid that started out and do anything different?
What, you mean for the money?
Yeah.
Nah, because it's not about the money. It's about the legacy. If my legacy comes, later on, or if I die, who knows what's going to happen with my material. I may be broken down and studied in English literature or something like that. Who knows what obviously my destiny wasn't to be the rich rapper right now.
What I'm trying to get at is there are some artists that obviously pursue money,
Yeah.
pursue fame, pursue glory,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
there are other rappers that pursue skill. And we when we started out, we didn't care about money, fame, glory, nothing.
I mean, don't get it twisted. I'd like the money. It's all about integrity. It's all about integrity. It's all about integrity. It's all about, people being able to. People can't question my music or the content because even throughout the years of my development, I started out as a road rapper. Then I did the punchlines, and then eventually shifted to Africanizing my content, and then shifted to adding a bit of knowledge in there as well, man. So
And then you done the battle raps as well.
yeah, I did the battle rapping and that. You get me? Battle rap is a bittersweet in that, man, because battle rap isn't really like a hip. It's not
It's become a bit of a
it's not
circus, I
hip hop.
guess,
It's
to
not.
some
It's
people.
not hip hop at all.
Explain that, because so many people think it is. But then I know people that go to the battle raps, but they don't know shit about hip hop.
Yeah, yeah. They kind of, the people that run the leagues and stuff like that over here. It's not. They don't really pay respect to the hip hop culture. Like it's not really intertwined like that or anything. They see it as more entertainment. They may see it as a lot like comedy show, or you know, they don't really have the respect for rap artists and hip hop artists over here. It's they're kind of treated as secondary.
Do you feel many people share that opinion as well?
No, I don't think, because maybe the people who participate, they weren't into hip hop in the first place, so you know they won't have a knowledge of the history of you know what
Can
happened
you
in '86, what happened in '90, what happened in. They don't even have the knowledge of the history of battle rap. They don't know about Scribble Jam. They don't know about Jump Off. They don't know about these things. So they don't. There's in battle rap, it's all about what has happened now. Like what happened in the past. Like it's kind of like it's secondary. It doesn't mean anything.
in your own words, can you explain the importance of understanding and knowing about the culture?
You have to know and respect the culture. You have to know the history. You have to understand things where they come from. So even now, just in popular music alone, you're hearing people starting to reuse samples like that's the original version. It's not the original version. They're reusing sampled versions of the original sample. So like understanding where things come from, then you are able to place an importance on what it means to you and where you can add value if you choose to partake in hip hop and rap culture. Because hip hop culture and rap culture are two different things. Rap culture is more like the monetization, the industrial side of it. But the hip hop culture is more questions your integrity, what you stand for, what you believe in. They say the elements is peace, unity, love, having fun. You get me? They forget the knowledge. So,
You want to do a
where
remix of that track?
what's the track?
Yeah, peace, unity, love, and having fun, and the knowledge.
Yeah,
Just chuck it in there, innit?
but yeah, it depends on what you want your legacy to be in rap and hip hop.
What would you say music has done for you and or to you even?
Music for me is, it allowed me to live rat race free for a period of time. Got me to see the country, see the world, meet people, meet my heroes, meet people I look up to. In terms of how it shaped and formed me, it gave me a focus, it gave me meaning, it gave me opportunity, it gave me day 3 friendships, it gave me day 1 friendships and day 2 friendships. It put me in the conversations, positive and negative, of you know artists in this country. It's done a lot. Music has done a lot for me, man.
Would you say after trying for years that it's also made you a colder person?
Uh, in the terms of,
In the terms of like, what the fuck have I got to do to get somewhere with this? It's constantly like trying, trying, trying. But 2 decades of trying and still not getting what you deserve. Now do you look at everything in a different way and you're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do what I'm doing and there are no boundaries.
yeah, it's a bit of everything, man. A bit of everything, because you know my approach to music has changed a little bit in terms of it's not the only focus now. Yeah, I don't have any regrets in terms of how my career has turned out, because I like the artist I am. I like the controversy some of my lyrics may create. I like the unease and acceptance that my style creates. I like the fan base that accept and avoid me. I like everything. I like the MCs that are accepting and are dismissive. I appreciate everything because the reasons for that are the same. Because there's no way that you can contest my ability.
Let's use the word blocking for argument's sake. Do you feel like a lot of that comes from the artists themselves directly?
I never know. It could be. It could be. It might not be. I don't know. All I know is that, you know, I am as good as I am and will always be as good as I am. And if you have a problem with
And
that,
also, don't
then you're
forget, very,
always gonna have
very
a
unique.
problem with that.
Nobody else is doing what you're doing. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
It's hard to have an opinion on my because I create it. But it's good to hear an opinion from someone who didn't create. I can sometimes listen to the music like I didn't create it, but I create music that I like, so it's a bit biased. You know what I mean? But yeah, it is. I try to be a one of one, and you know I like to create different um, sounding like life events through periods of how I feel and like the kind of batches of beats that I'm feeling at that moment. I don't think any two albums sound the same.
if you were to look at the end of every year, it's like there's something that defines that year.
Yeah.
So, how have you seen that progression? How do you feel about that progression? Do you feel you've gone in the right direction? Do you feel you could have maybe changed the direction and done something different?
I would have loved to have Soliheen here to see what he would have, what his influence would have been on me as an adult musically. So I'd probably be in a whole totally different space in terms of the music probably I would have been creating, you know, because a lot of the switches in music came from not having that access ability in terms of like a studio and a safe place to go. So you have to just create stuff on the fly, get beats from here, get recording sessions from here.
Were you happy with the progression though, all throughout?
Yeah, the progression is cool, man, because it's just life, man. Life happened. Whether it's me figuring out a little bit more about myself, like what's going on socially, and me feeling aggrieved, whether it's black people continuing to be killed by police and stuff like that, or me seeking knowledge or wanting an understanding of more the African continent, me wanting to know um, my ancestral journey, you know, or me rediscovering my love for British street culture, which is the sound clash culture, or me, you know, conversations I have with my friends about their children and, you know, their fears of, you know, what world they're gonna be left in and stuff like that. And everything is, you know, kind of. I'd like to touch on a lot of different things, man. So I do say sometimes artists that seem to stick to a particular content and a particular sound usually do better because they know what their fans know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm a musician. I'm an artist in its truest form, where I'm not making music for anyone's appreciation. Like I'd make art in its purest form, which is I'd make it for me first, and then whatever you think about it, you think about it.
You were at the cusp of when all Napster and all them things were coming in. How did that affect you?
I didn't know it affected me till one day I got a knock on my front door because I just put out a CD called the Northborough Estate Project. Northborough Estate Project. So I don't have a copy of that. I don't have any copies of that anymore. but it's a picture of the factories that are like the centerpiece of Slough Industrial Estate. And like everyone, like the list, I did the list, the artist on the back, and I had my phone number on the back of it. I get a phone call from someone. It's like, yeah, you from Slough, Northborough Estate? It's a young guy, local guy. It's like, yeah. I found your album on so and so site, Australian site. It's like, yeah. How did you do that? Yeah, it's been downloaded X amount of thousands of times. So if it's been downloaded thousands of times more than it's been sold. Like, so it is a blessing and it is a curse at the same time, because these people know you, but you ain't gonna monetize from it.
Do you know when I was doing my album with Baby J,
Yeah.
I made a phone call to someone we all know, and I said, right, I need to get $5 grand worth of weed, and it's my last money, but this is, and what I figured at the time, because I was caught in that as well, and I figured what I was going to do was I was going to get bags, and I was going to put a pound's worth of weed in every record and every CD, and I was going to shrink wrap it and sell them, knowing that everyone was going to buy it because they wanted that pound of weed as well.
Got you.
but Baby J was like, bro, you're going to jail on your own. So we decided against it. But that's the kind of shit we had to think. We had to do something
Out of the
different, because
box,
how you
yeah.
gonna
How you gonna
avoid the
monetize
downloads?
it?
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Also, the fact that you had to deal with, say, your parents, for example, saying that you should be a doctor or an accountant. Was there any kind of walls put up, or?
It was tough at the start because they couldn't understand why all of a sudden this shy, reserved guy wants to go and do performing arts and be a musician. What are you talking about?
Shy,
Rap?
reserved.
Yeah. That's what education does, my friend. Learning. Yeah, it wasn't. You just I got to the age where it's like, I'm just gonna do what I've been, and the precipice of it was the careers advisor talking me into something that I didn't want to do, because they convinced me it was the right choice.
Yeah.
So from that day, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna, life choices, I'm making the decisions that I'm gonna make, and I'll live and die by the decisions. And if it's the right or the wrong decision, it's my choice. And then they had to kind of respect it once they're hearing me on the radio and the record, and then I'm flying out abroad to places and I've got shows, and all of a sudden it goes from being a little bit disappointed to them, you hear them talking on the phone, telling their friends how well I'm doing. And my dad is probably my biggest fan. I catch him out sometimes listening to certain music
Have
that
you ever caught him in the kitchen rapping your lyrics?
I've caught him listening to Ludacris in his car.
So you managed to turn it round.
Yeah, man.
It's quite strict, isn't it? Like they have certain plans for their kids, like you get into this, and then you chose a completely different path.
Yeah, because, I'm born British here. Born, so I am from Sierra Leone, raised as a Sierra Leonean, but, I'm British. My experience is a little bit more British than their experience. Even though they came over when they were young, in their mid-20s and stuff like that, to educate themselves. Like, they have to understand, like, it's not, we're not in Sierra Leone. So, we're gonna have to, it was a risk. They don't want to see they just want to know their kids are going to be okay and have something to fall back on, or have something that is going to allow them to make their way in the world. And I've left my mark on the world in terms of content will be
And
there.
that's not stopping, right? That's still
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
because you got groups and
still.
stuff which we'll mention in a bit.
Yeah. So, the Gawd Status second album, hopefully, I'm just waiting on Kashmir to make some little tweaks on the production, what that has to happen there. I've got stuff that I can release in terms of getting mixed and mastered and that. But you know, like I don't. For now, it's just been just working, surviving, man. Like you know, I wish I could focus more on the creative things and that. But I'm making time to. You get me? Like I just came back from France. You know, like I'm having life experiences. You get me?
every day.
So trying to dress like a Parisian man now. So next time you see me, you know, I'm gonna probably be dressed like a Parisian.
There are always negative things that happen in the industry. There's always positive things that happen in the industry.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find negative is that you basically did some stuff in your early days and whatever where you weren't even mentioned.
Uh, yeah. So James Yard he produced on. I think he produced on a lot of Terry Walker's first album, and yeah, he invited me to do a verse for the remix, Ching Ching, and yeah, did my bit. Estelle was on the song as well, and yeah, that period, what was it, like 2003? Like performing that song when she was performing at like Kentish Town Forum. That was one of the first times I'd performed at the Jazz Cafe as well, and then a few other spots dotted around London. Like that experience was really good, man. But it's like when you hear adverts on the radio and you see stickers on um, the vinyls, and it's got everyone else's name, but your name ain't on there. You know, it was a bit. I kind of understood like these are industrial decisions because you can hear a male voice on there, and yeah, granted, like remix, it's a remix, so it's a minor, but still, just for people to kind of say your name at that time would have been a big deal.
Let's be real, it wasn't going to cost any extra to put your name
Yeah,
on there, right?
it would have been a big deal. So even to the point where I say, yeah, because I've got songs with pretty big people, man. Like I've got songs with Terry Walker and Estelle, obviously. Done some sways on one of my songs with Genesis. But then even with that song, like, you know, I can't remember the name of the people that were doing this. It used to be a big stage show in Nottingham. And I think Sway and Genesis got booked for that. I didn't get booked for that. But and then on the album they released, it's like a collective of everybody's songs. They got my song on there. And even on the Ties album, I've got a production credit. That's the word I was looking for. Production credit on there. But you know, these are all things I know, like, but other people don't know, you know. And I know that even in the production, I've inspired a few people.
Let's just talk about that production for a second. So you were also producing, you weren't just an MC.
Yeah. I started producing and rapping at the same time, man. So maybe even producing first. So I'd always had an interest in it, and I was maybe initially stronger at production than I was at rapping initially.
So have you done any productions that like went on a bigger scale and people would recognize?
The biggest production credit is possibly is the Thai one on the Upward album, Hot Spice, and then I've also got self-produced stuff that are on occasional albums here and there. I got a production beat tape, but nothing of recent time. I haven't really produced
So
anything
why
for a
don't you
few
put your,
years.
you know, tell people where they can find you if you want to do any production work for
Well, if
people.
you want to find me, you can find me at on Instagram. Like if you want to hear any production stuff that I've done, you can type in Joker Starr, and then Ivan Drago. Type in his name. You know, the Rocky character. Type in that beat tape, and that beat tape is on YouTube and all
But
other.
if MCs wanted a beat, would you be willing to work with them?
At some point, yeah. I don't own any of my own like beat making material and that. Like I don't have an MPC or nothing like that. But it's in my intention to what I want to do next or by the end of this year is get a camera because I want to get into photography and maybe some visuals. So I do think like I can introduce an interesting perspective that side of it and beats as well.
Let's just talk about your writing style a little bit. So define your writing style, and somewhere in there, throw in you know where your performance ability comes from, because you're, like I said, you're very unique when you perform.
It kind of developed over time in it and redeveloped because I have an understanding of timing and I have an understanding of kind of like the structure of like a bar in terms of the what notes go into a bar in terms of notation. So I kind of used that. But when I first started, I didn't really have a structure. I would just write something and then squeeze it in to the bar to make it fit. And then I applied, like if people see my lyrics on a paper, they always ask, why do I have numbers on top? Well, the number represents the count of the bar, 4-beat bar. So then like I had, everything was kind of like structured and in place. But then once I had added that structure, everything sounds a bit too stiff. So then I kind of reintroduced the offbeat style, but in a more structured way. So like just through years of trial and error, and listening to artists like RZA, listening to other artists that are kind of like have that offbeat style, Doom, Munch, but also artists that have that structured style like Sean P. Artists that have that understanding of cadence like Mos Def, Busta Rhymes, ODB, kind of mash that all together, you get my style.
I hear you mention a lot of Americans. Any
Yeah.
English inspired you in any way? Only British?
Yeah, I think Soliheen, in terms of competition, the British inspired me, but not I didn't want hear any kind of sounds to be like them because I wanted to be different than them. I want to be better than them. So the people I was around was Twang, Rodney P, Skinny Man, Fallacy, Pesci, Shawnee T, Roots Maneuver, Genesis Elijah,
Sway.
Michael Parkinson, Sway, to name a few.
Yeah.
Could go on and on and on.
And Kashmir.
Obviously, Kashmir's the GOAT.
Talking of Kashmir, you got obviously the stuff that you're doing with Gawd Status,
Yeah.
right? And I said that with an American accent. I don't know why, but yeah, Gawd
Gawd
Status.
Status. That's how I said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
status it should be.
Tell us what's in the pipeline with that.
We got Jazz T, Kashmir. Everything has been recorded. We just need Kashmir to do a few little bits on production in terms of like I don't know getting stuff mixed.
Is Anyway also a full member of the group?
He's not full member, but anywhere I go, anyway will go. So you know you can expect to hear it because he's one of the few people that just don't complain. He's not intimidated, man. Just whatever. And now look, he's reaping the rewards, man. Like he's a one of one as well, man. Like one of my friends the other day, you don't know I know him, said he saw him perform the other day. They both performed at the same venue, and he was saying like, Anyway is the best person that he's ever seen live from the UK. And I'm
Bro,
like, yeah, of
you
course,
already know what I think.
of course. Like you know, and that goes again down to the teaching and the people that he's been around and the experiences that he's had, because all the experiences I've had, he's had most of them, and that's what I think you should do as an artist. If you have other artists that are around you, like you know, if you don't want to let them experience the radio, the shows, the late nights, the traveling up and down the country, the session, let them experience everything so they, you know, and now he can go away and do his thing solo. He's not in underneath my wing or in my shadow no more. He's reaping the rewards of his hard work now, man. Check out Anyway to God. If you don't know Anyway to God, check him out. Check his music out. It's easy just to type his name into a search engine. Just do that. No money needs to exchange hands. And in this era, it's as easy as checking his music and sharing it with a brethren. It's as easy as that. It's as easy and as simple as that. A little inbox. Thank you for the music. Boom. And if you want to express your gratitude, you go to a Bandcamp, you go to some kind of link, you put money in the account for them, man.
And
It's
keep
as
these
simple as
artists
that.
going. Imagine 10,000 people put 10 pence in.
Exactly.
Right, so tell us a little bit about Gawd Status.
Me and Cash, we always kind of joked about it, like doing a rap group together. And I'm sure the name came from him saying Gawd Status in the lyrics. So I always used to say to him, yeah, we're going to do a group, Gawd Status, rare tear, rare, blah, blah, blah. And then I think it was the summer before COVID, he sent me a batch of beats. I write to the beats. I had no idea what I wanted to say, but I knew I wanted it to kind of be the content which is it's just on its own. No one's really talking about it. Something a bit interesting, something that may be a bit taboo, something challenging to the listener. So I recorded to a set of beats. He reproduced it, so it didn't sound like anything that I had recorded to. And it kind of turned into this psychedelic, alien, AI, revolutionary being onto its own. And yeah, people kind of gravitated to it, man. Like off of the album, we did a couple shows, one in Brighton Record Store. We did one show in London. We did one show in a festival in, I can't remember, Hastings, I think, somewhere. And then where we was getting momentum, COVID happened, and then it kind of just stopped the momentum of it, which is unfortunate, man. But yo, Gawd Status, look at the artwork, man. Look at that. Look at that.
Sometimes I wonder if Kashmir's AI.
That's him.
Yeah, but
That's Kashmir right there.
But this is what I'm saying. Sometimes I wonder if he's
not,
AI.
No, Kashmir's not real, man.
So can you confirm for us if Kashmir's AI?
I cannot confirm or deny. All I'm saying that he's here, but he's not here.
You were part of Jones Brothers, but you've also been a part of a couple of other groups. Is there one called Monarchy or something?
Yeah, that was the first. That was the first group, Amaji Syndicate as well. So, and me and Dark Angel, we started out rapping together first. And that was the Amaji Syndicate. We made a lot of music with Soliheen. Well, not we made a. I used to bring him to studio sessions and make music with Soliheen. And then under the tutelage of Skankity Ashanti / Kofi, like he was another guy who Kofi used to kind of give access to his studio and his time. And then the Monarchy was a bunch of us, local boys from Slough. So that's me, Skanky, Dark Angel, Dre Miller, and a guy called K Lover. He released stuff before. Him and Semtex used to go to the same university. So I've got him and Semtex's vinyl at home. I didn't mean to bring it today. And that was the Monarchy, man. We didn't really do much. Like the first album I recorded, we did 1 or 2 songs. Did a few mixtape verses and that. Like back then when I was brand new, I used to record and throw CDs at radio and whoever played them. So yeah. I think the Jones Brothers is the more prominent, me and Anyway to God. And then obviously Gawd Status, me, Jazz, and Cash.
And there's a lot to look out for with them. So
yeah, man. Just type my name in and you see all of that.
Your journey's been over 2 decades.
Yeah.
You know, so if I was to say to you 2 sentences, just define your life as an artist.
How do you define 20 years in a sentence, man?
That's what I'm asking you.
It's difficult, but I would say is exceed expectations, greatness is amplified. It's dope.
Okay, well, there you go. Says it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have you ever been offered any major record deals or anything from the back of, you know, like say that thing that you were doing with Terry Walker and Estelle and Ty and everything? Did anyone ever approach you?
No, I heard people were trying to get to me, but I can't confirm or deny that. That was just hearsay. It could have just been people talking. But I heard people were looking at me and Sway the Sappho around the same time, but no one contacted me about that.
Do you feel the industry treated you fair, whether it was the UK hip hop scene or otherwise?
I've never really felt part of the UK hip hop scene. I've always felt like the outsider looking in it.
That's because you were from Slough. No one gave a shit about Slough, bro.
That's it, man. But you know, Slough created one of the greatest to ever speak the Queen's language.
Yeah, there you go. Look, I know I said it as a joke, but it was real. Like if you were outside of London, it was difficult.
Yeah, and depending on what.
And some Londoners, it was difficult.
Yeah. I mean, there's no guarantees. It's not easy, and it all kind of depends on who you know. You get me? It has nothing to do with talent. Nothing to do with talent. It's all who you know and the timing and opportunity. And you know, I had the talent, but you know, the timing and the opportunity. Well, if I had the opportunity, if I was sat in a studio with someone and said, you know, either way, if they said, yeah, we need some records here, blah, 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 I could have done that. I'm very adjustable. But would I wanted to kind of do certain things? Not necessarily.
So that's what I was going to say. Your work ethic is good. Like your consistency is good. Everything is good. But maybe are you holding yourself back because of some of your beliefs?
Showmanship is
But
great.
are you holding yourself back because of some of your beliefs?
No, because I can do that. You get me? Like it's not a case of whether you believe. It's a case of the opportunity and the person given opportunity. Are they gonna open doors? Are they gonna spend the money? And then if they're gonna spend the money, are they gonna spend it in a way that recoups?
Yeah, I mean,
and if it recoups, am I gonna get the right percentage? So like the dream is, yeah, the doors, yeah, all I need is the opportunity. Nah. But you need the right lawyer, you need the right business team, you need the right A&R, you need the right business infrastructure. And I would, as being a street rapper like I was never gonna have that because it's too dangerous.
This is a guy that's obviously put years of work in. He's been consistent. He's a dope performer. He's a dope lyricist. He produces, blah, blah. He's got everything. Like he just said, he's got everything. It's all there. But the infrastructure within the business isn't there. So if there's anybody out there that's looking to sign somebody or to at least just give a leg up and help somebody that is basically got everything, the consistency, we understand you get let down by others. You ain't going to get let down by this guy here because he does it all. So if there's someone out there watching this interview and you like the person that you're seeing here and you want to give someone an opportunity, this is a guy that you need to give the opportunity to. Simple as. But bro, any final words?
Check the clocks, you know what I'm saying? The bravery to wear these clocks in public with the socks, match the arm. You know what I'm saying? I just come from France, you get me? So the fashion might go a little left from this point on. But all I'd like to say is thank you for the opportunity to come up here and tell a little bit of my story. Like you said, there's a lot of music that is out there. So the easiest way is to type in Joker Starr, Joker space Starr in any search engine in the world and something will come up, whether it's music or battle rap or previous interviews. And just check it out, share it, tell a friend to tell a friend. The support doesn't necessarily need to be monetary, but, you know, just talk about it.
Okay, you heard it from the man himself, Joker Starr. Right, so everybody please go follow him on his social media pages. I'm going to put all the links below, his Bandcamp, check it all out, Spotify, whatever he's got, I'm going to put it in the links below. Make sure you go follow him and support him. Like he said, it doesn't have to be monetary. But Aside from that, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive the notifications, like, share, and get involved in the comments section below. Gawd Status, make sure you check him out, all right? Take care, peace.